at Charlotte Friday. The Lakers are back in action tonight. They're at Washington, a team with the worst record in the NBA. The Wizards are 6-40 and have lost 15 straight. The Lakers won't have Anthony Davis tonight. A good time for the Lakers to regroup and show some mental toughness on their 4-game road trip. USC's women's basketball team, ranked number 4 in the country, is playing their first home game in 18 days. USC is at the Galen Center tonight to host Minnesota. The Trojans have won 14 straight. Trojan star Juju Watkins remains the nation's number 3 scorer with 24.8 points per game. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is for all the folks who appreciate follow-through. Here's a quick recap of the KBLA Talk 1580 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. More than 6.4 million Southern Californians viewed our climate justice billboards and bus shelters. Another 1.5 million people listened to and or downloaded our weekly conversations with African American climate experts. Our KBLA Climate Justice web portal had 2.8 million unique visitors. Thousands more attended our 7 climate justice community events. More than 9.3 million riders saw our climate care messaging on metro buses and trains. And 39 million Americans accessed our C-SPAN Climate Justice Symposium. All told, our 2024 Climate Justice Campaign exceeded 471 million total impressions. KBLA Talk 1580 thanks all of our 2024 Climate Justice partners: LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, Sierra Club, California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, LA City Council member Curran D. Price Jr., the California Wellness Foundation, MWD, AQMD, and the Port of Los Angeles. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580. 1580.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavisSmileyShow.com. That's thetavisSmileyShow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, 2 conversations. Up first, politics and policy columnist for Bloomberg Opinion, Erica D. Smith, on the impact of the wildfires on black residents, whether or not to rebuild, rebuilding quickly versus rebuilding safely, and the greater inequities these wildfires will certainly leave in their wake. On the B side of our 2, antitrust attorney Patrick Bradford talks about tomorrow's deadline for black Division I athletes to register their claims for a pending proposed NIL settlement, that's NIL, name, image, and likeness, valued at $2.8 billion. We don't want the brothers and the sisters to miss out on somebody running them their coins. So there's $2.8 billion on the table for Division I athletes to claim regarding their name, their image, and their likeness being used while they played. A lot of money on the table, and we want to make sure that black folk, black athletes, don't miss out on their change. So we'll talk about that. Again, the deadline is tomorrow. Patrick Bradford joins us today on the B side of Hour 2. In Hour 3, a career conversation with Academy Award-winning writer and director Kevin Wilmot. I look forward to a rich exchange about the power of telling stories that matter. Stories like Black Klansman, for example. We'll do that in our third hour. But in this first hour, a conversation about the new book, Truth Matters, a dialogue on fruitful disagreement in an age of division. The co-authors of this powerful polemic are our guest in this hour, and thankfully for the hour, the esteemed and venerable Princeton professor Robert P. George and the renowned scholar and towering public intellectual Dr. Cornel West are the authors of this new text, Truth Matters, a dialogue on fruitful disagreement in an age of division. Professor George, how are you today, sir? Good to have you on.
I'm very, very well. Thank you, Brother Smiley.
It's good to have you. Good to hear your voice. Dr. West, how are you, sir?
Brother, my dear brother, it's always a blessing to be in conversation with you, and always a blessing to be in conversation with Brother Robbie, man. Yeah. And I do want to begin, man. Brother Robbie's precious mother just passed, man. So our prayers are with her. She was a gem. She was a Jew, 92, I think.
92.
92 years old, brother. So we just begin our dialogue in her spirit. You know what I mean? Mamas are very special. Nothing like them in the world.
No question.
Nothing like them in the
No
Tavis's mother, Joyce. No, ooh, she's a gem and a Jew.
As was Irene, as was Irene Bias West. So we both we were both blessed to have all three of us were blessed to have wonderful and precious mothers.
Yeah,
and as Doc said, there is nobody in the world like a mother. And so, Robbie George, we thank you for coming on under these difficult circumstances. Our thoughts and prayers are with you and your precious family. So thank you for this dialogue in the midst of what I know is a bereavement over the loss of your precious mother. Let me make the most of.
Sure. I am grieving, but I'm overwhelmed. Really, the feeling of grief is overwhelmed by the feeling of gratitude.
Oh yeah,
just gratitude to have had her for so long, and she was such a wonderful mother, as Cornell's mother was. I'm sure yours was, Brother Smiley. Cornell and I had the great blessing of knowing each other's mothers.
Wow,
it was wonderful, and spending some time together and having them appreciate our work together so much. My mother used to love watching the videos of us and our conversations and our discussions together. She would always give me a call. She'd be on the phone the minute she heard one.
Yeah. No, it's an appropriate way. I'm glad Doc kicked us off that way. It's an appropriate way to start. Those who listen to my program regularly, hope that means you, and you. And those who follow my work over the years know that it is my way in conversations as often as possible to get at the backstory. And that's the sweet spot for me, understanding how we got to be who we are. Dr. West is fond of saying that we are who we are because somebody loved us. Everybody's somebody's child. Everybody's somebody's kid. And every one of us listening right now, no matter where you are who you are because somebody loved you. And so for me, it's always fascinating to ask folk. That's why you hear me do this all the time. Tell me about your mama. Tell me about your daddy. Tell me about your big mama. These are the kinds of questions I ask. And I ask those questions because it's that backstory, that love embrace that somebody wrapped you in, that tells me a great deal about you and how you became who you are, why you are running in the lane that you're running in, what your work and witness is all about, the way you show up in the world. All of that springs from the people who loved you, and that's why you hear me ask those questions all the time. I digress on that for now. We're delighted to have Robbie George and Cornel West on with us for the hour. The book, once again, is called Truth Matters, a dialogue on fruitful disagreement in an age of division. As you recall, Dr. West has written two books previously, one called Race Matters, international bestseller. Race Matters, Democracy Matters. Here he is now with Robbie George with a book called Truth Matters. I think it does, but these days it seems to me that the truth is whatever each of us determine it to be. There is no objective truth these days. You recall during Donald Trump 1.0, we're now in 2.0, God help us all. But in Trump 1.0, you recall they advanced that notion of alternative facts. So we'll start with, when we come forward, a conversation about what truth is. What does truth mean? Why does truth matter? Going to be a great hour with Robbie George and Cornel West. Delighted to have them right now on Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have a full tank of gas first before road tripping through the desert.
Empty? Seriously? Maybe I can walk.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Maybe I can't.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature-Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text BEST to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text BEST to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text BEST to 200-300. That's BEST to 200-300. BEST to 200-300.
He's a paradigm pioneer and the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Tavis Smiley and Robert P. George and Cornel West, authors of the new book, Truth Matters, a dialogue on fruitful disagreement in an age of division. A lot to unpack. Let's get started. Robbie George, it seems to me that we live in an era where, as I mentioned a moment ago, the truth is what each of us determines it to be. There is no objective truth, it seems to me, anymore these days. How does a society advance when there is no objective definition of what truth is?
Society will not advance if we give up on the aspiration to be in touch with reality. And that's what it means to speak the truth. That is to say what is the case about reality. Now, we know that we are fallible. We are frail, fallen, fallible human beings. We know that sometimes we're going to make mistakes, even with the best will in the world, trying to get at the truth, doing our very best. Sometimes we are going to be in error. We have to be aware of that. We have to be open to challenge, open to criticism, open to correction. We also know that we'll never, in this vale of tears, Brother Smiley, get to know the truth completely, have the truth in its wholeness. There's always going to be deeper and deeper depths to plumb of the truth. But having said all that, there's still such a thing as truth and falsehood, reality and what is not in line with reality. And that's why it really does have to be our aspiration, because it's our obligation to speak the truth as best we can understand the truth. In our frail, fallen, fallible condition, nevertheless, to speak the truth as best we understand the truth.
There's a phrase, Robbie George, that we hear all the time. How do you process it when you hear people say that my truth is not your truth?
I think we just have to reject that. The idea that something can be both true and false simply depending on whose perspective we're adopting. The law of non-contradiction holds. Something cannot both be and not be in the same respect at the same time. That is a self-evident truth. We don't need scientific experimentation or some other method to arrive at that truth. We can grasp the principle of non-contradiction as a self-evident truth, and then we have to hold to it. So if it is the case that the ball that was dropped fell, it went down rather than up, then it's simply false to say, well, from my perspective, the ball went up rather than down when we let go of it.
Yeah.
There's truth and there is falsehood.
Yeah.
And even though we're never going to get it perfectly, we're never going to get it fully, and although we are in our fallibility subject to error and therefore always have to be open to correction, open to challenge, open to criticism, we've still got to speak the truth.
Since you mentioned scientific, Robert George, one other quick question, and we'll bring Dr. West in this conversation. I'm thinking now of the right, and for those of us who are fans of both you and Dr. West, we know that your politics are not exactly the same, which is part of what makes this book so fascinating for me, is that you have persons who have different political ideologies who've come together to write a book called Truth Matters, a dialogue on fruitful disagreement in an age of division. And the cover photo says it all. The two of them embraced, hugged up, black and white on the cover of this book. I love it. But you mentioned scientific, and it made me think immediately, Robbie George, of our friends on the right in an era where climate change and global warming are as real as rain. I'm sitting in Southern California right now. These wildfires not completely doused as yet. And there are too many people, namely on the right, who deny the science. They don't see that as a truth. How do you respond to that?
Well, scientific denial is denial of the truth. Now, we have to be careful. We have to be very careful, Brother Smiley, because so very often in our history, a consensus has formed among the best informed people. And that consensus has turned out in the end to be false. We have so many experiences with that. Anyone who knows the history of eugenics knows that the smart people, the sophisticated people, the progressive people, there's a great book on this called Illiberal Reformers by my Princeton colleague, Professor Thomas Leonard. The great and the good, the wise, the forward-thinking, all formed a consensus that eugenics was scientifically the right thing to do. Almost no dissenters among the elite from that. But of course, we today look back on that with horror, and we say, why didn't somebody raise the question? And the people who did raise the question were dismissed as hicks, as hillbillies, as religious fanatics, and so forth. So we can never be absolutely dead certain of anything. So we have to be open to criticism, while at the same time calling out denial where we believe there is denial. And I have to say on Brother West's behalf, I try to do it myself, he's called out the false statements on the left, just as I try to call out the false statements on the right. Both of us have tried our best to be prophets within our own camps, our own political camps, in calling them out when they have deviated for the truth for the sake of some sort of ideological goal.
Yeah. As a student of Dr. West, I have heard this more times than I can count as he has lectured, and I've been with him literally around the world. Doc has said many times that none of us has a monopoly on the truth. There is the truth, and there is the way to the truth. And we have to be humble enough to recognize that we don't have ever a monopoly on the truth. I've heard that more times again than I can count come out of the mouth of Cornel West. And yet, Dr. West, that statement notwithstanding, we do see the truth through different prisms, politically, economically, socially, culturally. We are all looking through different prisms, which takes us back to that conversation that Robbie George and I were just having about why there is no objective truth anymore these days. Dr. West, take it and run.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear. But one, of course, we started this wonderful show talking about the truth. Our mamas loved us. And Joy Smiley, listening, still loves Tavis. That's the truth. That cannot be denied. How come? We got experience. We got evidence. There's ways in which we can verify that. The fact that we gonna die, that's the truth. You can deny it all you want. Okay. But it's the truth. There are certain truths that you cannot not know. The condition of truth, when it comes to human reality, when it comes to history, is to allow suffering to speak. But our challenge these days is that the condition of truth seeking is courage. Courage is in short supply. We live in a moment of spiritual decay and moral decadence. People are cowardly, they're conformists, they're complacent. When Brother Robbie raises his voices to be critical of fellow conservatives, that takes courage. He could accommodate himself. He could have bigger positions, bigger status. Same is true in regard to those either on the left or black folk. Right? If you're cowardly, if you're conformist, go with your status and your position and don't tell the truth. The truth requires bearing a burden and paying a cost. That's the challenge. That's where the spiritual crisis comes in. We don't have enough folk who really want to bear a burden. They don't want to bear a cross. No, they want a premature crown. They want it now. They want their money and position now. And it's in high places. White House. How much truth telling do we get out of Trump? How much truth telling do we get out of the Democratic Party elites? How much truth telling do we get really in the schools, in our churches? The accommodation, the spiritual decay cuts across the board. And all we're saying is, in a very humble manner, we both are Christians. We follow in Jesus of Nazareth, which says, I am the truth. And that means that something ought to be manifest in you in such a way that you have a courage to tell the truth, even if you have to bear a cross.
Too many of us, Doc, live in our silos. I want to come back to this notion you raised a moment ago of truth seeking. We live in a society, live in a world where people live in their silos. You watch Fox News, I watch MSNBC, you read the Wall Street Journal, I read the New York Times, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We live in a world where people, again, operate and exist in their silos. I want to come back again to truth seeking. To your mind, what motivates, what animates, what is the profile of one interested in truth seeking?
And that's for me, my brother?
Yes. Yes, Dr. West.
Oh, no, I think it has to do with character. It has to do with, do you take integrity, honesty, and decency seriously? You see, in the moment of spiritual decay, integrity and honesty and decency don't mean nothing. Character don't mean nothing. As you know, Brother Tavis, your older brother, Cliff West, he said everything's transitional.
That's right.
Everything's manipulation. Everything's trying to get over. As Martin used to say, I'm obsessed with the 11th commandment. Thou shalt not get caught. That's the only commandment that really kicks in a serious way in a moment of spiritual decay and moral decadence. And it cuts across color, cuts across class, cuts across region. That's the kind of world we live in. And we have to be honest. And what I love about Brother Robbie is whatever political and ideological disagreements we have, the brother says what he means, it means what he says. He's not posing. He's not posturing. He's not saying something just for position. He's saying it because it comes out of his heart, mind, and soul and intellect. That makes a difference. And we've been able to do this for 20 years all around the country, classroom and churches and mosques and just right across the board.
We call him Robbie. His name is Robert P. George, distinguished professor. No, I'm just for the audience. I'm letting the audience know that that Robbie is Robert P. George, distinguished professor at Princeton. One of our guests in this side. The other voice you're listening to right now, of course, is that of Cornel West. They are the co-authors of a book called Truth Matters: A Dialogue on Fruitful Disagreement in an Age of Division. To that phrase, Robbie George, fruitful disagreement. There's no doubt about the fact there's a lot of disagreement these days. We live in a country that is as divided as ever. So clearly there is disagreement. But what do you mean when you say fruitful disagreement?
That is disagreement between or among people whose ultimate motivation, whose ultimate goal is to get at the truth of things, not simply to win converts, not simply to win victories. This takes us back to Socrates on the streets of Athens. He's engaging with his opponents in debate, who are known as the sophists. Who are the sophists? The sophists were people who were paid to educate or train the young men from the great families of Athens to be good speakers. And by good speakers, they didn't mean speakers who spoke the truth. They meant speakers who could win arguments, put on good shows, be impressive, get ahead. And too much disagreement today, too much argument today is really posing and posturing. What Cornel mentioned a moment ago is posing and posturing. It's arguing for victory. It's arguing to gain status. It's arguing to get your tribe or your camp or your cause ahead. And it's not arguing with a view of getting at the truth of the matter. Two truth seekers, when they disagree, are united, Brother Smiley, by something much more powerful than what they disagree about. And what they're united by is a desire to get at the truth of the matter. They both love truth more than they have fallen in love with their own opinions. And so they're prepared to abandon an opinion if the opinion turns out to be incorrect. And they rely on each other, as Cornell and I rely on each other, to test our arguments, to test our ideas. So we welcome the challenge. We don't treat it or perceive it as an assault of some sort. We welcome the challenge. Now, I'll show you for sure when you don't have a truth seeker. You don't have a truth seeker when you have somebody who only listens to, only engages with people or media with whom he disagrees. I'm sorry, with whom he agrees. The guy exactly back with whom he agrees.
Sure.
So if you got a guy and all he does is watch Fox News, read the editorial page of the Wall Street Journal, go to the Breitbart website, never listens to any alternative to the viewpoints presented in those media, whatever that guy is, he's not a truth seeker. He's much more likely to be a dogmatist, an ideologue. Same thing. You got a guy who listens to MSNBC or watches MSNBC. You know, he reads the New York Times editorial page. You know, he reads the New Republic or the Atlantic and nothing else. Well, that's not a truth seeker. Whatever that guy is, he's never going to be challenged. Tell you something else. I'm talking too much, but one more thing. A truth seeker never tries to shut down his opponents. A truth seeker never treats an opponent as an enemy to be defeated and destroyed. A truth seeker treats an intellectual opponent as a partner in the pursuit of truth, doing him a favor by challenging his ideas to make sure that they can pass rational muster, that they can survive the scrutiny of intellectual challenge. That's arguing in a fruitful, truth-seeking spirit.
I'm laughing, Robbie George and Dr. West, as Robbie defines what a truth seeker is. Donald Trump, I've got F. Every description that Robbie George offers of what a truth seeker is, Donald Trump is flunking in every category.
And he got a lot of folk around him who's flunking too. But he's not the only one.
No.
I'll tell you that.
He is not, but I was just laughing internally as Robbie ran that list like Trump is flunking on every one of these subject matters. I digress for now.
That's not a digression.
No, I hear you. When we come forward, I want to go right to Dr. West to pick up on what Robbie George just laid down. As we say around here, Robbie George laid it down. I'm going to let Cornell West pick it up, and here's where we're going to go. You heard Robbie George say a moment ago that if your end and aim as a quote-unquote truth seeker is all about winning victories or about status, about pushing your cause or your tribe ahead, then you're not really a truth seeker. So it begs the obvious question, a question I could have started this conversation with, but now it fits in quite nicely. What is the purpose of truth? What is the value of truth? Indeed, there's a whole chapter in this book, Truth Matters, Chapter 2, called What is Truth? Why Seek It? And that's the question for Cornell West when we come forward. What is truth and why seek it? The book is Truth Matters, a dialogue on fruitful disagreement in an age of division. The authors are our guests in this hour. Delighted to have them, Robbie P. George and Cornell West, who you're listening to right now. And I'm glad about it on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MOTOR for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code MOTOR for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code MOTOR.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Wednesday night's plane crash near Reagan National Airport is the most serious U.S. air disaster in years. The last major crash was in 2009 when a Colgan air flight near Buffalo killed 50 people. This crash involved an American Airlines jet with 64 people and an Army Black Hawk helicopter. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s first confirmation hearing is over. He faced tough questions on his views concerning vaccines and abortion. He returns to Capitol Hill today for another hearing. President Trump is signing an executive order to prioritize federal funds for expanding school choice programs. Within 60 days, the Secretary of Education will declare how states can use federal funds for K-12 educational choice initiatives. And a new poll shows 85% of Greenlanders do not want to join the United States following President Trump's call for Denmark to give up control. Only 6% are in favor, with 9% undecided. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
If you were self-employed or a 1099 contractor and missed work because you had COVID or cared for an immediate family member with COVID in 2021, you may qualify for up to $32,000 for the Sick and Family Leave Credit. Visit taxcreditnow.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers' offense was very productive last night in San Antonio. Kawhi Leonard and Norman Powell each dropped 27 points to help the Clippers beat the Spurs 128-116. Leonard played a season-high 29 minutes. Ivica Zubac had 21 points and 22 rebounds. The Clippers are at Charlotte Friday. The Lakers are back in action tonight. They're at Washington, a team with the worst record in the NBA. The Wizards are 6-40 and have lost 15 straight. The Lakers won't have Anthony Davis tonight. A good time for the Lakers to regroup and show some mental toughness on their 4-game road trip. USC's women's basketball team, ranked number 4 in the country, is playing their first home game in 18 days. USC is at the Galen Center tonight to host Minnesota. The Trojans have won 14 straight. Trojan star Juju Watkins remains the nation's number 3 scorer with 24.8 points per game. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down again.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Robert P. George and Cornel West, authors of the new book, Truth Matters, a dialogue on fruitful disagreement in an age of division, getting all kinds of messages about their appreciation for this spirited conversation. Here's one, Robbie and Dr. West. Tavis, what great questions and an interview that is nothing less than medicine for the soul on the heels of listening live to Donald Trump's comments about the recent military helicopter airplane crash, wasting no time to blow his race dog whistle, blaming this on Obama and Biden, their names in his mouth, and saying the FAA must have those with the highest aptitude and superior intellect. Another dig at DE&I. It was sickening to watch, having no basis in any cited facts. Just one of our listeners expressing appreciation for this conversation about truth and why truth matters. Of course, our thoughts and prayers with all the families of those who have lost relatives and loved ones in this horrific plane crash yesterday. But Donald Trump, once again, wasted no time blaming DE&I and blaming Biden and blaming Obama, just going off, as he often does, not rooted in any semblance of the truth. And that's why this conversation matters about the book Truth Matters, a dialogue on fruitful disagreement in an age of division. Robbie George, Cornel West, the co-authors, delighted to have them on this program. Dr. West, take it away. Why seek truth? What is it? Why does it matter?
Well, there's a wonderful moment in Malcolm X's autobiography where he says, I'm for truth no matter who says it. I'm for justice no matter who's for it. I'm a human being. I'm a Muslim. I'm a black man. And I think all of us, if we follow that, and Brother Robbie and I have a reflection on that moment in our text, because the assumption is that truth is bigger than all of us, bigger than our tribe, bigger than our skin color, bigger than our gender. It's bigger than our nation. It's bigger than our flag. And if we acknowledge that, then we ought to have a little humility, but then also acknowledge that truth is something that we need in order to be empowered. The truth sets you free. The truth is a force in your weaponry, in your fortitude that allows you to be, in the language of John Coltrane, a force for good, or in the language of Martin King, part of the beloved community. Now, that itself is up for critique. Nietzsche comes along. We got a discussion of that in our text, right, Brother Rob? Yeah. Nietzsche comes along and says, I don't believe that the truth empowers. I think truth leads towards self-destruction. Therefore, people don't need to know the truth. Let them stay under illusion. It's like Dostoevsky's Grand Inquisitor. People can't deal with the truth. They want falsehood. People can't deal with the truth. They want lies. Well, that's again a question of character. And part of the problem of Trump and the White House is they say we want the best and the brightest only. Ooh, that means the White House going to be relatively empty if that's the only criteria. Oh, interesting. You want to apply it to everybody but yourself. The truth is jagged edge. It doesn't go just at others. It comes at us. And Brother Tavis and I traveling all around the country and the world. We've talked about this on many occasions. We got to tell the truth about ourselves. We got to tell the truth about Black people. We got to tell the truth about America. Got to tell the truth about everybody. Yeah. That's what Malcolm, I think, had in mind.
Robbie George, as you know, being his friend and scholar, a fellow scholar, I am not as deep as Dr. West. I can't wrestle with Nietzsche and Dostoevsky, but I can give you Jack Nicholson from A Few Good Men.
I know where you're going, Brother Smiley.
You know where I'm going. I can't give you Nietzsche, but I can give you Nicholson. And Nicholson said, "You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth." Pick up on that point that Dr. West just makes, Robbie George, about whether or not, as you are encouraging us to recognize that truth does matter. In a moment like this, can we handle the truth?
Let me say a word, Brother Smiley, about why I think truth ultimately or most fundamentally matters. And I need to introduce a distinction here. It's a common sense distinction. I think everybody will understand it. It's the distinction between something being valuable, but only as a means to some other end, some end other than the thing itself. We call that instrumental value. Distinction between that and something intrinsically valuable. That is to say, something that is valuable for its own sake and not merely as a means to something else. I was born and brought up in West Virginia. I had a kind of Huck Finn boyhood with my 4 younger brothers running around the hills, hunting and fishing, playing bluegrass music. I'm a banjo player.
Hold up. You say West Virginia. I'm thinking of some great people out of West Virginia. There's Robbie George. Who else? There's Bill Withers. There's Skip Gates. There's
Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone, Bill Withers. And Brother Gates was just up here as my guest at Princeton, and we had a discussion of our West Virginia boyhood.
Jerry West, the NBA logo. Jerry West. A lot of great folk out of West Virginia. I'm sorry, Robbie George. Those names came to me. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, you got me going too here, Brother Smiley. So, both my grandfathers were coal miners. Both were immigrants. They did not have much education. My father was drafted out of high school when he turned 18 in 1944 and sent to Normandy and Brittany to fight. Even before he'd graduated, the school sent his folks a diploma. He didn't get to attend a graduation because he was off fighting in Europe. And when he came back, of course, he had some skills and opportunities, so he didn't have to go into the coal mines like his dad, but he didn't have the opportunity to go to college, nor did my mom. So I was brought up by parents who valued education, and they certainly wanted education for me and for my brothers. They wanted us to go to college. It was very important to them. But their understanding of education, therefore my understanding of education, was purely or mainly instrumental. Why get a good education? Why pursue knowledge? In order to rise in the world, better income, higher status, professional job, not just a laboring job, and so forth and so on. And so that's what I took with me. But then in my second year, in my sophomore year, Brother Smiley, I had an epiphany. I had an experience. A professor assigned a work by Plato. Now, I'm quite sure I would never have heard of Plato prior to going to college. But, he assigned Plato's dialogue Gorgias. And in that dialogue, Plato, through his teacher and character Socrates, brings us round to seeing in the discussion that truth, that knowledge, isn't simply instrumentally valuable, something we want in order to be able to build bridges or fix economies or get a good job or get higher social status, that most fundamentally, truth is worth seeking and having for its own sake. It's intrinsically fulfilling of us as the kinds of creatures we are, rational creatures, as Aristotle said. We human beings, despite our frail, fallible, fallen status, we are rational creatures who are fulfilled by knowledge of the truth. And suddenly, I was a free man. I was no longer living for status, prestige, honor, wealth, getting ahead. I wanted to know the truth for its own sake. It also meant that I had to review all of my opinions. And I had to confront myself with the fact that most of what I believed on the basis of tribalism. It was what I was brought up to believe. Where I grew up, you'll believe me, I think, on this, Brother Smiley, because you know the history. Where I was brought up in those Appalachian Hills, we were taught to believe in 4 things: Jesus Christ, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the Democratic Party, and the United Mine Workers of America. That's what we believe. Those are our tribal dogmas.
And maybe Robbie, not in that order. Maybe not in that order.
Not necessarily in that order. But now I had to review all those beliefs because I realized I was holding them because they were what my tribe believed.
Yeah.
I wasn't holding them because I'd investigated them and learned that they were true. So I had to look at everything. And a lot of my views changed. Now, I still believe in Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a Christian. I'm not so sure about Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Democratic Party, and United Mine Workers of America, and lots of other things. But it's a liberation. I mean, if you want to be a free man or a free woman, give up the tribe, give up the ideology, give up the dogma, and dedicate yourself to seeking the truth. The truth really will set you free.
I love that distinction, instrumental versus intrinsic. I feel like I am auditing a class. I know that Robbie George and Cornel West have taught together a number of classes over the years, and I feel like we are auditing their class for free today, courtesy of Tavis Smiley. You're welcome. More when we come forward.
From California to the Carolinas, everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
Welcome to Staples.
I am so pumped. My business is going to kill it this year.
Awesome. How can I help?
First, a new computer.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you save big on tech.
And new posters.
Save on custom printing, too.
And,
a new chair?
A chair? Who has time to sit?
Maybe all your new clients?
Now you're talking.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you'll find huge savings on custom prints, storage, chairs, and tech. And now save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you are invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
We are grateful here at my home station in L.A. This program is syndicated across the country, and I'm delighted to be in syndication. Thankful to all of those stations that carry this program every day. But in my home city of L.A., on my home station of KBLA Talk 1580, we are honored to have Dr. Cornel West host his own show every day, immediately following mine with his colleague, Nina Turner. So, Doc, you know how this clock works. We're in those last two segments now, and it's getting tight. So you know exactly what I'm up against. But let me come to you and ask you to say more about Chapter 5 in this book, Truth Matters, a dialogue on fruitful disagreement in an age of division. You mentioned Malcolm X and you mentioned Martin King, some other historical figures, but talk to me about Chapter 5, confronting truth in history. We live in a world, in a society where we are still taught things that we know. We've been taught them since kindergarten. We know these things are not true. Talk to me about confronting truth in history, Dr. West.
Yeah, most of human history, the history of lies and crimes, it's a history of domination and oppression. There's a wonderful line in Eric Vogelin's Volume 3 of Order and History. It says, Gorgias is the death sentence over Athens. The Gorgias, the very text that my dear brother was invoking, is the center is Callicles. Callicles is a gangster. In fact, Vogelin says he's an intellectual pimp who will smile in your face and order your murder tomorrow and your mama's murder tomorrow. That's spiritual decadence. That's why we started with the truth in a moment of spiritual decadence. And the end and aim is for the spiritual regeneration, the moral revivification. That's what Martin was about. That's what Fannie Lou Hamer was about. That's what John Coltrane was about. That's what Aretha's about. How do we regenerate ourselves in a moment of decadence so out of love, we can actually connect the truth seeking to a love making? And that means all you can do is create moments of interruption in human history. Because human beings are such a wretched folk and a wonderful folk simultaneously, my brother. And even Nietzsche, who hated Christianity, had to say, but this Jesus, he was the only figure that I know of in human history who could pursue truth with no revenge, no resentment, full of love. I may not follow him, but he's a different kind of human being. That's very much what our text is about, given our Christian sensibility, but a message for the world.
Nobody turns a phrase like Cornel West, truth-seeking and love-making, truth-seeking and love-making. Dr. West, tell me right quick how we go about discerning truth today. It's one thing to say that truth matters, indeed it does, but how does one go about discerning the truth today?
You got to hang around folk who are concerned about the truth, because nobody has it all by themselves. So that's why I spent all that rich time with you, Brother Tavis, and Brother Mark Ridley Thomas, and my dear brother Robbie, and I can go on and on and on. As my brother Cliff West, I'm spending time around folk who haven't sold their souls for a mess of pottage.
The book is called Truth Matters, a dialogue on fruitful disagreement in an age of division. Our remaining moments with the co-authors of this text, Robert P. George and Cornel West, when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good.
Yeah, man.
Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
Stirring fiber, exercising, frequent trips to the store for more laxatives and fiber. Sounds like your constipation with belly pain is a lot to manage. But if your symptoms that keep coming back are signs of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LANZESS.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
More honesty than you can handle.
More empowerment than you can imagine.
You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
I've got 4 minutes left here, which means 2 minutes for Robbie George and 2 minutes for Cornel West. I'll start with Robbie George. Here's my exit question, sir. You talk in the book about seeking truth beyond the classroom. Tell me why truth-seeking should not just, Robbie George, be an academic pursuit.
Oh, because it's an existential concern. And by existential, I mean here, it's an aspect of our existence as human beings, as rational creatures. If we give up or we abandon the search for truth, we lose an essential part of our very humanity. We become slaves to ideologies, to dogmas, to passions, to desires. We lose our one and only chance, Brother Smiley, to be masters of ourselves. Truth gives us the path to self-mastery, self-control, and that's so critical to our dignity as human beings. So critical to our integrity, that precious thing that only we at the end of the day can control. The one thing that can't be taken from us. Our wealth can be taken, our reputation can be taken, our status can be taken. The one thing nobody can take from us is our integrity. Yeah. If we lose it, it's because we gave it up, not because someone took it. Wow. And we will lose our integrity the minute we give up our dedication to the truth.
Dr. West, the closing comment belongs to you. Reference was made earlier in this dialogue to the fact that all three of us, Robbie George, Cornel West, and Tavis Smiley, are unapologetic followers of that first century Palestinian Jew named Jesus. And chapter 4 in this book is all about truth and faith. Your closing comment, however you choose to go, but I wonder if you might connect it to truth and faith, sir.
Yes, I think for me, truth is a species of love, not just the love of truth and acknowledging that none of us have a monopoly on it, but love itself is not just the driver, but it's also the consequent. And when Brother Robbie says integrity is something that the world can't take away, I would say joy is the fruit of that love. And one of the distinctive features of anybody who has the audacity to be a follower of Jesus of Nazareth is that you shall know them by their love, you shall know them by their joy, and you shall know them by their unstoppable predilection to enact a beloved community and kingdom in a world of overwhelming coldness and cruelty, and they do it with a smile. And they do it with style, and they do it with a foretaste of what is to come. And that's a joy, just like integrity. And the world can never take it away. No king, no fascism, no oppression, no domination, no lie about you or your mama. You got that joy, you got that love, you got that integrity, and then you hold on for others for dear life.
Mic drop. The book is called Truth Matters, a dialogue on fruitful disagreement in an age of division. 1 hour could not do justice to this text, much less the intellect of these two co-authors. Robert P. George at Princeton, Cornel West at Union in New York City. What an honor to have both of them in dialogue together on this program. Robbie George, thank you for your time, sir. Thank you for this text. I deeply appreciate you, my friend.
My pleasure, Brother Smiley.
Good to have you on. Dr. West, as always, man, thank you for doing it again, man. I love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it, both of you. The book, again, Truth Matters, a dialogue on fruitful disagreement in an age of division. Where I go from here the next 2 hours, I do not know. Lord help me. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Wednesday night's plane crash near Reagan National Airport is the most serious U.S. air disaster in years. The last major crash was in 2009 when a Colgan Air flight near Buffalo killed 50 people. This crash involved an American Airlines jet with 64 people and an Army Black Hawk helicopter. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s first confirmation hearing is over. He faced tough questions on his views concerning vaccines and abortion. He returns to Capitol Hill today for another hearing. President Trump is signing an executive order to prioritize federal funds for expanding school choice programs. Within 60 days, the Secretary of Education will declare how states can use federal funds for K-12 educational choice initiatives. And a new poll shows 85% of Greenlanders do not want to join the United States following President Trump's call for Denmark to give up control. Only 6% are in favor, with 9% undecided. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
If you were self-employed or a 1099 contractor and missed work because you had COVID or cared for an immediate family member with COVID in 2021, you may qualify for up to $32,000 for the Sick and Family Leave Credit. Visit taxcreditnow.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers offense was very